Damn, what is up, my internet friends? Welcome to Walking and Talking, the show where I walk and talk. This is all just in service of pissing people off. I really just do this to disappoint, to keep people in a continual state of disappointment. And when I say that, I mostly think of the shithead YouTube commenters who are, would seem to want to see me like off myself or like have some major meltdown or something like that. What that does is really provide me an excellent reason to just like live as long as possible and healthily as possible, towards the goal of dying at a ripe old age peacefully among loved ones, and to maintain this presence here with you. And so kind of like towards that end, I do many things just to stay healthy and happy, like eat a variety of phytonutrients and antioxidants and healthy fats, and try not to eat too much, and try to do the intermittent fasting thing when I can, and exercise regularly and get like a variety of different types of exercise, whether it be weight resistance training or cardio, etc., and spending ample time in nature and being sure to get some sunlight on my skin, like around midday, as often as possible. Maintaining long-lasting relationships and friendships, and having sex with people that I trust and that I love, and from like maybe occasionally just cutting out someone from my life who's for whatever reason incapable of behaving well towards me, and not feeling too much regret about that, if possible. And what else? Being committed to my artistic practice, or whatever we want to call it, but not overly extreme and neurotic about it. But like maintaining a healthy commitment to it. What else? Having like a wise relationship of the darker and painful aspects of reality, of being a human, things that are kind of inherently difficult about being a human. Having a wise relationship with my own like shadow side, my own individualistic and selfish and vain narcissistic greedy tendencies, and having like a wise relationship with my own other darker aspects, like anger and that sort of energy. Continue to learn new things and keep myself just like cognitively interested and engaged in the world, and learning, coming to grips with like sort of the inevitable and irreconcilable wretchedness of my human individuation, and my distance from like God or unity or the one or goodness, the true, the good and beauty, the good, the true, the beautiful, however you want to think about that. Just like coming to grips with the sort of inevitable reality that I am distanced from that in a certain respect, and that that's just that is just like a necessary and intrinsic aspect of being an individuated human, but at that in equal measure, that same distance and individuation also has a profound belongingness, and in equal measure is never separate from God, the one unity, the true, the good, the beautiful. That there's always, like, in a paradoxical way, there's an inevitable wretchedness to being, and there's like an always and profound belongingness at the same time, and so like trying to come to grips with that sort of paradox of reality, but also not thinking about it too much, not thinking too hard about it, because like eventually one kind of realizes that like that thinking, that trying to resolve the paradoxical nature of reality is kind of endless, and so like being okay with like just sort of like ceasing the mental action that continues to perhaps perpetuate that like polarizing of reality into those like contrary truths, you know what I'm saying? Or like and simultaneously like also not trying too hard to not think, like not making an obsessive effort over not thinking about those sort of things. But like, continue to also like engage in this process of like coming to grips with like what in a very true sense is irreconcilable about reality, about being a person, about being alive, about even sort of like categories of existence that are more expansive than human experience, like simply consciousness at all, or sensation, that sort of thing. Like the sort of like never ending limitless cascade of different perspectives that one can take on the world, that seem to continually negate your previous paradigm, and that just kind of keeps going and keeps going, and like the so like coming to grips with the uncome to gripsable nature of things, that you can't actually clamp down on reality and like have it for good. Like it keeps escaping, but at the same time, like even that reality has its opposing paradigm that seems to negate it, or like exist in paradoxical juxtaposition to it. The fact that we are able, it seems, to at least engage in a process, a more verbal type of being, of movement, of action, that we could think of as an understanding, or a coming into reality, or like like an affirmative type of positionality towards reality. At the same time, like affirmative towards the slippery nature of it. But so what I'm saying here is like all of these are all just things that I do completely in service of pissing people off, just to like, it's and really nothing more. It's just, this is just to disappoint people. Maybe you're one of those people that could be included in who I'm talking about. I don't know. And I don't really have any other reason. But and I wouldn't really want any other. I live to disappoint, and also in service of that, like towards a similar end, I kind of refuse to surprise you. I will be neglecting to do things that shock and surprise you, just like in order to disappoint you. You know what I'm saying? Like I will kind of like align with your expectations of what you would expect me to do, in order to disappoint your desire for shock, for surprise, for the new, that sort of thing. And as you're probably, you may be getting kind of like a exciting sense of the paradoxical nature of what I'm saying, and I'm clearly aware of that as well. And it's fun, you know. Like I'm having fun talking to you, like I'm talking to you about disappointing you, and obviously it's like I'm very like engaged, and you're like mirroring that, and so you feel engaged too, and you're like, what is, and you're kind of like entertained by the kind of slipperiness on our relationship, on my positionality in relationship to you. You're having fun, just like I am, and whilst like knowing that like we have a long time ahead of us here, and this isn't gonna last forever. You know, we're going to, I'll run out of steam, and we will kind of have to sort of peter out from this seemingly somewhat like maybe like serotonergic, serotonal, kind of like what would be the word, like fest that we're having. And we will have to like maybe come in to a more realistic and harsher relationship with reality, the part of it that's like just kind of like normal, disappointing, purgatory, uncreative, just kind of being. And while I'll say now, and you may be with me, that like I'm up for that. I'm down with that. Like I'm like, bring it on, bring on the just like disappointing, like lost, like listless, boredom, whatever it is. Like let's get into it, you know, with zest and vigor, and for the absence of zest and vigor and so on, getting tired of ourselves, getting tired of our minds, that sort of thing. Like the all the skeptical,
you know you're not supposed to do that.
all the skeptical feelings, like, you know, like this, like, you know, like the testing against like consensus reality, like, you know, this guy's just high, like the sort of like conceptual reduction of experience into categories. It's a perfectly normal thing, and I welcome that, and invite you to kind of just like freely engage in that sort of categorization type of behavior in relationship to me and in relationship to this video. I know the GoPro decided to stop that video. I think it like missed the GoPro, you know, does this voice commands. I think it misunderstood something, but I'm just saying that I'm inviting you to like freely engage and kind of like whatever kind of like we'll call it reductive with a negative connotation, but like it's also a normal thing to just kind of like conceptually place things into categories and boxes and reduce them. It's just the part of the process of understanding. It's a normal part of the human experience. So I just invite you to engage with that, and kind of like maybe you'll find yourself doing it automatically and have fun seeing yourself making these attempts at understanding, making these gestures towards understanding, whether they seem to be successful or not. I mean, I guess I would imagine some may be successful, and some may not pass the test. Like we can be like, you know, thoughts going on like, is this guy an artist? Did this guy go to art school? Is this guy a philosopher? Is this guy just high? Is this guy crazy? Is this guy like really lucid? Do I like this guy or not? Am I comfortable with the ride that he's taking me on? That sort of thing. Like, am I up for spending my time? Like, you know, how am I spending my time? Is this like productive? Is productivity something that I'm concerned about? You know, is like you know, just like figuring out how this fits in with the rest of your mental conception of yourself, the sort of like constellation of concepts that constitutes yourself, and where you see yourself going in life, and that sort of thing. Like, is there consonance with what you're experiencing right now with that, or is there dissonance? Is the dissonance interesting? You know, is there a productive sort of dissonance where like you have your own thoughts kind of triggered by things that I'm saying that seem interesting, that you're interested in following? So like now, you know, now I've stopped talking, and then are we going to get into that sort of thing where like I become kind of like a little bit painfully reflexive of the process that I am engaging in, and like self-consciously like repetitive and that sort of thing. Like, it's a question. It could happen. Is it happening? That's a question. It's like, am I you know, am I like a trustworthy authority for what I'm dishing out here? Is a question, you know, that you might have to ask yourself. like, is it, or is this like form, is this form of information or whatever it is, like, dangerous? Is it socially dangerous for you to get enraptured with this, you know? Like, to me, I think it's a little, it does feel socially dangerous in a sense, but also in a sense not. Also it does feel socially dangerous in that it is, I can't really think of what we're doing here as really like fitting in any kind of like utilitarian sense into society, into what people value and what is useful. Like, so just for instance, if you are engaging in like the mental categorization of what's going on right now in this video, like, are you actually being able successfully to reconcile this experience into a sort of category that fits into society, that like has utility? So like, for instance, are you thinking about your experience right now in terms of like how you would explain it to someone else that would make sense, that would seem to make sense with them, and they would be like, oh, I understand, oh, I see the value of this video, oh, I understand why you watched this video, and so on and so forth. Or like, okay, I understand like what type of video this is, or like, okay, I see that as art or philosophy or something like that. Are you successful at that, or like, does that sort of thing keep breaking down, and is this like a little bit too slippery for that? Or am I actually just being vain in thinking of myself and what I'm doing as like escaping those types of categorizations and being like slippery? And is there actually like a legitimate, valid categorization of what I'm doing that fits into like a utilitarian use, like has a use model, like fits into society in a way that, you know, like perhaps a transactional or exchange sort of way, or perhaps not, perhaps something that is a little bit more progressive in thinking, but nonetheless has a social precedent and would you know, make sense to a certain segment of the population who is relatively open-minded and progressive in their worldview. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's quite possible. I'll leave that possibility open, or perhaps not. Maybe I don't even need to like venture forth. I mean, needless to say that I don't need to like offer all of these prognoses, but that's just sort of like the nature. But they're I think you sense the sense of liveliness and engagement, at least, that's going on so far. And like there's like this very a sense of flow, we could call it. Like this is perhaps like one of the ways I could imagine perhaps like categorizing a sort of segment of time that I'm perceiving as demarcating like a section of this video, or like thinking of a section of this video as a segment of time, an encapsulated time span chunk that we could categorize or characterize as like exhibiting a flow kind of state, where there's a sort of like a continuous generative cognitive motion that feels warm and like kind of like supple and profuse and you know, like serotonergic and like drawing forth these connections, you know, like to try and think of things in an objective third person sort of neurological perspective would be like, you know, forging some novel synapses in the mind between like previously fragmented neuronal structures. So it's like kind of how I'm like abstractly imagining one process that may be happening, you know, from that third person objective way of understanding or looking at the world. And but you know, that's of course like in another sense, like it seems possible to actually reduce that third person objective abstraction of this like neurological model into like first person subjectivity, because when we have to admit that like we have never actually like seen our own brain, and that synapses are in some sense a kind of abstraction. I mean, like maybe somewhat less so if like we are actually like a neuroscientist or a neurosurgeon, and we have, you know, maybe even looked at an actual synapse under a microscope and sensed this objective reality with our own senses, albeit with an extension of our own senses, you know, like and this is a sort of like to like come to come to look at the epistemology of these things, of like third person objective reality, to like come to an understanding of the epistemology of it, that is like okay, so how do we actually know? Like, I think that's sort of like, that's kind of an exciting thing to look at, and I think that's why like I think that's what maybe people find like alluring about flat earth theory, is like, oh, how do we actually, like, I haven't actually seen the earth being round and that sort of thing. Of course, like to actually take up this this reality that the earth is flat requires like a very like extreme kind of willful ignorance of a lot of other things, which is a little bit beyond me, and is and also strikes me as like actually pretty conceptually weak thing to do, a very like graspy sort of thing, and really like really what it amounts to is like trying to forge a very hard identity of oneself, simply in opposition to like a more consensus reality, which is like I feel like that's the sort of thing one does like out of fear, you know, of fear of the actual irreconcilability of reality, the actual slipperiness of reality, that you cannot get to that you cannot get to any final solidity, but one must like continue to like move forward into that irreconcilability, into that emptiness. And so like things like the flat earth theory or conspiracy theories, or like kind of like simplistic explanations of what my YouTube channel is, or like who I am, or what I'm doing, all strike me as like motivated by fear, or like laziness, maybe like torpor, listlessness, like unwillingness to really face this this like irreconcilable emptiness of reality, which can manifest as being very painful. It's true. It's like it's inevitably like comes to us as pain sometimes, of the disintegration of what we felt was solid at some point, or what we hoped was solid. But nonetheless, like, you stay alive and engaged and growing by digging right into that stuff, by digging right into that that slippery hole of reality. I think you understand. I mean, you know this already. Like, you know this deep down. You know, like, I don't have to say this. Actually, you know this intuitively, by bent of being an individuated human like I am. By bent of your distance from God / unity / oneness / goodness / truth / beauty, and simultaneously by dint of your profound unity with unity, God, oneness, truth, goodness, beauty, however you want to reduce it, you know. Or, you know, like, as I was saying before, we can also just kind of like let go of this polarizing mental activity that kind of like manifests reality into these opposing poles, i.e. just kind of stop thinking about it. That's okay. But like and like, but in that sort of light, like in that sort of attitude, we can also be like, you know, to the conspiracy theorists, be like, okay, that's okay, I understand, you know. It's like, reality's hard. You can grab onto that if you want. It's okay, you know. Like, we don't have to necessarily like condone the really harmful effects of that sort of thing, the sort of like choking up of reality for the rest of us. But in another sense, we can be like, yeah, I understand, I get it. You can hang on to these things as long as you need to. But like, you know, I'm here to encourage you to let go and you know, just kind of let go of those things and like go ahead and experience your own wretchedness, the wretchedness inherent to reality, and you know, like, fall right into it, because you do come out the other side, and then you're like, yeah, I feel like a couple $100. It's cool. Oh, hat tip to my boy, you know. My friend said that. I think he said that. Yeah. What did he say that? I think he had some good tea or something. Made him feel like a couple $100. But yeah, like thinking about disappointment and like, how do we approach that, you know, like like this question now, like I'm talking a little slower. Is this going to be how the disappointment manifests? I'm not talking for a while. getting choked up in my own cycles of self-loathing and self-consciousness and that sort of thing. But I mean, we're not really, that's not really what we're experiencing. But are we experiencing some lostness? Is that a question? Were we lost to begin with? Have we always been lost? Have we been, are we down with being lost? Is being down with being lost synonymous with not being lost, with being found? Is it actually possible to be down with being lost? Or is that an oxymoron, you know? You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense that, like, we will ascribe to some Buddhist or like pop psychology doctrine about acceptance, only to find that that is kind of a never-ending rabbit hole that you can't just like permanently accept everything. That's it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't work. It's like you can think you can accept something, or maybe you actually can accept something, but then like once you've say like accepted something, you know, like, oh, I was rejecting this aspect of reality, now I've accepted it. Like maybe you really did, and then like, so what then? Then are you just like, oh, I'm happy now, I found it. I'm like okay with reality now. I'm all good. It's cool now. Like got it. I accepted emptiness. I came to terms with emptiness. I'm like, yeah. I've got it. I'm a wise person now. I'm ready to face what challenges and disappointments life brings at me. It's, you know, is that real? Like, do you ever feel like, how often do you feel like that? And like, to the extent that you feel like that, how often do you like you know, like next day or like, you know, next moment even, are you like just like in the opposite pole of like, fuck, like, why am I such a fucking asshole? Why can't I just how come I'm so unaccepting? How come I keep fucking up? How come I keep screwing up? How come I'm so discontent? That sort of thing. Or maybe you just don't think about it that much. Yeah, I'm here. Pardon me. I'm trying not to like I'm trying not to like shock you with my candidness, you know, because I'll recognize that, like, I'll you know, I'm perhaps falling into a thing where I'm like seemingly defining myself in opposition to the tendency of YouTube media by like, you know, offering some like hyper realistic representation of human experience, and therefore, like, you know, like being candid about the unsexy aspects of like embodiedness, like blowing your nose and that sort of thing. So I'm trying to disappoint in that respect, and just like disappear a little bit into like at least some semblance of just YouTube normality, etiquette or whatever, just by like blowing my nose off screen. But then again, of course, like here I go, like explicating all of that while I'm doing it, and so once again kind of like falling into what we do have an option of conceiving as my own limitations, or like as we talked about before, falling into your expectations of what I will be doing, and that as I stated before, that is kind of my goal, to just kind of like continually meet your expectations and like just like fail to surprise, but at the same time, like we are fairly engaged. The engagement level might be like dropping like slightly from the beginning of this video, or from, I don't know, perhaps there was like a bit of an apex or zenith early on, but you know, we still don't know the full topography of, like, you know, neurotransmitter related experience for the remainder of this video. But yeah, I feel interested at this moment if things will have a lull. It seems like that's possible. Like that you know, the spell could break. I could lose you. I could lose you. We could disappear into, but we can't really, like, even if we disappear into normalcy, or if we have a lull, or it could even like go into crisis, you know, of like the one of these negative thought cycles could come up to, like, and manifest one of these realities where we create a situation of like profound isolation and the ensuing wretchedness, purely by thought cycle, but like also probably relating to you know, neurotransmitter levels, and that relating to like physiological states and that sort of thing. It's entirely possible, you know. It's a long time. But as yeah, I was saying that, like, because like from this perspective, I can talk about being inclusive, being accepting of that type of experience, a type of isolation or crisis experience of negatively perpetuating thought cycles that could happen. Like, yeah, being more or less accepting of that from this perspective. But needless to say, like, from the perspective that I am suggesting is a possibility, actual acceptance I don't think is possible, and so we have the actual experience of non-acceptance, not being able to accept truly. Here's the train. So here's like my opportunity to kind of like disappoint the contingent of you that do want to see me do want to see like dramatic things. Would like to see me kind of like, you know, off myself. And so like the that possibility was presented, but I don't think I don't think I don't think that was an actual expectation, to be honest. Like not realistically, not if you have been engaged in this experience in the like in either the emotional tone or the intellectual subject matter of what's been going on. Like suicide would not kind of like arise as an expectation, I don't think, in that moment. And so in that sense, I can't realistically claim that like disappointment was the actual result of that. But I do start to think about, I do start to question the 4-hour duration as being too extreme, you know, as being like a marker of of an extreme attitude towards my practice. So if I think about it a lot, it's kind of a big question. Like I could, if I'm being serious about this, like aim to disappoint, like I could just like kind of make, just sort of like make the length of the videos like variable, like at kind of at whim, or not whim, but like you know, just kind of decide based on my feeling about things when to end the video, and have them be a fairly digestible length, not forbidding length, like this. Like I've sort of sensed an arc, you know. I've sensed an emotional arc, and like the compellingness of the intellectual content sort of like live its life, and like could come to sort of a natural end here, and feel very natural, and yet at this moment I'm not ready to abandon this durational framework. Why is that? It's like there's some resistance, maybe a strong resistance. I mean, it kind of, it implies a pretty strong resistance towards the concretization of this, like, of this as content, of this like as objects, you know. But then on the same token, like, I'm wondering, does the persistence of the 4-hour framework kind of present its own objectifying force? You know what I'm saying? Like the series becoming a type of object, becoming conceptualized and categorized in a certain way. But yet I also feel fairly skeptical of this attitude of resistance, of that, like of I feel skeptical of my own resistance towards objectification and concretization, because you look at it, these guys, I'm doing this to piss them off. No, it's really to piss you off, actually. What was I saying? Oh yeah, like you really, like, you know, try to like concretize, objectivize something, and it's like it doesn't actually happen. It's not actually possible, or it's like inevitable, but also in equal measure, everything's ephemeral, ethereal, everything's simply appearance, you know, everything's simply appearances, everything's simply fleeting, etc., etc. Or like the presenting the dichotomy between things as concretized versus fleeting appearance, or like kind of phantom of experience, is not only not necessary, but just not real, not true. The dichotomy not being true. Or if you're gonna try to attempt to like present that dichotomy, you're going to like inevitably run into the contradictoriness of it all. And so, like, once again, we could just stop thinking about that. Maybe we'll try, but not try too hard. In a sense, though, the one thing I will say about this framework is that, like, it does kind of enable me to just do this. It does enable me to kind of overcome my momentary feelings. You know, like to let present whatever presents here, whatever topography presents, whatever facet of reality comes into experience, then we just like look at things via that facet, and we're not like. And we're not like, no, we like had our excitement, or we found what we were looking for, so we can stop now. It's not that sort of thing. It's not. We had our little serotonergic stimulus package. And so, like, now we're like, now we can, you know, get on with things, go back to normal life. It's like it's like bring on whatever, you know, bring on the normal life.
bring on the bring on the like whatever, like neurotransmitter deficient experiences of like, you know, we're fried from like having so much psychedelicness or whatever, and now it's like everything feels like painfully solid. It's like let's do that. Let's go into that. Bring it. So that's kind of an argument for the 4 hours. It's like you can't, because that way you can't just present one sort of like feeling tone of experience, or like one sort of like category of experience, like cordoned off that you wanted to have, and that you premeditated and like contrived for you and for me, because it's close to impossible to do that for 4 hours, you know. Or like maybe, you know, maybe there is some kind of like range of experience that it is possible to like stay inside of, remain inside of for 4 hours. Like it's not all of experience, so it's like, it's not like eating. But at least it's a bigger scope of experience than it's like a bigger there's a wider scope of experience that is necessary to let in a 4-hour duration as opposed to a 10-minute duration. You know what I'm saying? So I guess to some extent it would seem that this is predicated on an attitude of realism towards human experience, but then again, it's also like, I'm also well aware that this is not typical human experience, as in like this is a markedly atypical framework through which to mold human experience, this walking and talking for this time span, you know? It's atypical. You know, everything's always both. Except when it's neither. I'm tired, but I'm walking uphill, and I'm not tired. You know what I'm saying? Like you say a thing, and then like you understand the opposite of it to be equal true, or you understand the just sort of like the conditional weakness of that sort of framing of reality in a statement like I'm tired. You know what I'm saying? until until like by dint of time passing, like certain facets of reality become increasingly they impinge themselves increasingly strongly, like such things like tiredness. They exert an increasing amount of gravity. There's and that's the extent to which we don't have control over our world, over our bodies. It's like the limited nature of our agency. Of our apparent agency. Pardon me for a moment. It's like I want to, I just want to keep explaining everything to you as clearly as I understand it, so that there's no surprises. And what do we want to present to you? Like a constructed sense of suspense? In anticipation of the answer, with its concomitant dopaminergic reward? Associated with an apparent understanding of an apparent problem that was not actually a real problem to begin with, and does not actually have a real solution. Excuse me while I take a pee. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. It's YouTube. It's YouTube. It's like, you know, are you gonna click on the thumbnail of like how to make money on YouTube part 2? As if there's gonna be an actual answer to that, and like as if the query itself were like well framed in the first place. Give me a break. Or like charisma on demand or something. I think that might be a channel, like, or something like that that algorithm wants to present me with. It's like, you know, like 10 steps to be more confident or whatever, like as if any of those are real answers, and like as if that like query were like well framed and like taken into consideration all the complexities of reality in the first place. Like, come on. Or like, you know, school of life is gonna like give you something always comforting about how it's normal to be fucked up, Which it's kind of true. It's kind of true. It's not true. I don't know, and like you can go ahead and take a little bit of that comfort if you want. But I'm also saying, like, maybe also consider not comforting yourself, or that, like, maybe consider it like the way that, like, these brief videos are going to seemingly encapsulate your experience into like a few minute sort of thing with like a you know, a simple sort of conclusion, or at least a simple sort of orientation and direction, is fine, I guess. And it's like gonna, like, you know, for like a brief moment, like, you will feel some sort of comfort, or some kind of, like, you know, dopaminergic or serotonergic, like, relaxation in the with your realization that, like, you know, you're not alone in your fucked upness. Yet, like, for me, I always have to kind of consider the possibility that very comforting, that very like little, you know, reward comforting thing, is in some sense like another form of kind of like clinging on to some kind of like trying to build something solid to cling on to in reality, that, you know, it doesn't last. Like, you know it doesn't last. So I guess, like, in walking and talking, like, the continuous nature, the ongoingness. I mean, I've said it before, is like kind of a reflection of, like, what I hope to be a more honest reflection of human experience, and, like, it probably, maybe at times it could be comforting, or make you feel less lonely, and I'm pretty down. I think I'm okay with that, but in some sense, but then, like, I think that, like, in equal measure, like, we're including, like, some of that, like, Schopenhauerian, like, inevitable, like, alone, like, ultimate aloneness too, you know, like being with that wretched side of things too, like, wretchedly alone, having a bit of that, being down with that too. But, you know, like, I guess it's kind of easy to say, like, you know, with walking and talking, we can be together in our aloneness, or yeah, I don't know, like, maybe it heartens you, or like maybe also just kind of like loosens up these mental categories of aloneness. Like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, as opposed to what? Like sociability, where, you know, like, do you actually reach any depth there? Like, or is sociability like, is that actually like more, I don't know, just say it how it's probably been said before. Like, I'm sure you've experienced, like, you know, feeling just as lonely in company of people that you don't feel able to connect with anyways. But it's like, yeah, even like for me, the relationships that where I actually feel the most connected with, the most connection with people, like my closest friends, the people that I do feel like I share like a profound understanding with, that, like, you know, feel like true friends. I think that what we kind of have is like a in a sense like we both have this like understanding of like what I'm calling that like Schopenhauerian aloneness, like that yeah, that we just like have that like the sort of understanding like I can't actually like make you not feel pain in life, you know, and that like you can't actually make me not feel pain, and like along with that, like I wouldn't actually want to like prevent you from feeling pain, and I wouldn't want you to prevent me from feeling pain. And like when I've like been in a type of relationship where it seems like predicated on that presumption that like the relationship is going to prevent us from feeling pain, it's like, that's a fucking disaster. Fuck. Those were like paradoxically like the most like pain-inducing experiences of my life. Cool. Amazing. I never thought about that way before. Like, I wanna go into a relationship just being like, let's you know, feel pain, you know, like this is like let's, you know, let's engage in our irreconcilable wretchedness together, and knowing that like inevitably like we're going to inevitably to some extent like continue to feel our wretched aloneness, our wretched our kind of like profound disconnect from reality, which is like synonymous with our individuation. To like experiencing the potential pain in the distance from each other, the distance between you and me. Let's go ahead and experience that distance and experience the pain of it. We do. People do. The shithead commenters express this. You know, they're like, this dude's obviously mental. This dude's obviously insane. Like, that sort of thing. It's like, that is like a, you know, like, it's not wrong. It's like, that is kind of like a true expression of a real aspect of being human, the like inevitable fucked upness of it. I just saw like a groundhog run away from really far away. It was like that hill right there that we walked over. It was just like peeking its head over that hill for like half a minute, and then I couldn't tell if it was an animal or not because it was holding still. I was just like, is that an animal? And then it ran away. Things, you know, not knowing what things are until they leave, until they exit. And like in the sense that I'm sort of talking about, like the question of relationship is also, or like the concept of relationship is also not such a solid one. It's not like we're in relationship or not. It's like it's not like together or apart exactly, you know. It's like those are kind of, you know, those are sort of generalizations that we can apply to some extent that have like a certain kind of truth to them, but then like for me, like the reality, the true reality of relationship is like something much is like totally not solid. The question of whether you are together or apart is not ever resolved into one or the other. Like, you know, you and I, we are not in relationship. And then like even along, like if we can think of togetherness or apartness as like some kind of spectrum, so like apartness, like say like we never even heard about each other, or like even, you know, thought of like no kind of thought of each other ever, thought or awareness of each other ever entered either of our minds. That being one side of a spectrum, and then the other side of the spectrum is like, you know, we're like fucking and married and like have a million kids and for, till death do us part, and just like, you know, joined at the hip, thinking as one, but like in either of those cases, like in like what we're calling the extreme apartness, like there's not, in the sense, there's not relationship there. There's like someone that I haven't ever heard of. Like we are still like profoundly joined in our common human experience, and just like the fact of being human, and all the profound commonalities in that, of, you know, like the experience of individuation, of like separateness from the unity, and then in that, paradoxically, we are involved in the unity, in like our mutual experience of separation. We are like common and like conjoined and linked in our you know in this phenomenon of like separateness, of incompleteness, of like I'm not the universe, you know, I'm not everything, I'm just like a part, and thus I perceive I perceive difference, I perceive different people, different things. I perceive things that are like really different from me, like a rock that's like really different, or like a star, or that's really different, or like empty space, a vacuum, that's like, it's you know, or a black hole, like the inside of a black hole, that's like maybe getting close to is about as different from me as I can imagine, or yeah. That like, you know, that at the same time, like that otherness, like say, like, you know, extreme otherness of people, you know, like say the person that lives in the culture that is the most removed from my own, and who I've never met or heard about or seen, or like don't even know about anything about their culture, and yet there would be on some level that we could relate, you know, like the smile, you know, like we'd still, you know, there's still a recognition, human, or like, actually maybe not in the case of some people, which is to say, I'm just, you know, pointing out, like, historically, and maybe still, there's like humans that you know want to categorize certain other humans as something other than human. But then you know, you can have like something further different, like the rock or whatever, that I'm perceiving as different, but at the same time, it's like there's not difference in a sense, because like here I am, we can conceive of ourselves as biological entities, and on top of that, like, you know, cognitive thinking entities with this capacity for abstraction and so on. But this is all completely dependent on just like material substrate, like the earth, like, and you know, pretty much the specific material conditions of this particular planet. And so like the rock, you know, it's like without a whole ecosystem of life forms, including the ones that we consider as lower life forms, as less complex, like single cellular organisms and so on, like this whole complex web of things, and then also just like the material substrate that all that stuff is made of, like there's not you know, an individuated thinking human, like, without that stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to explain all this. And then so on this other side of the spectrum of, like, you know, like you found your soulmate, you know, like there's still a distance, and like that's like there's not, you don't have love without distance. You don't have, it doesn't exist. You don't get to like feel that connection without the pre-existing separation. There has to be the distance to overcome. There has to be the difference in order to perceive other, in order to like be perceived as an other, to be perceived as yourself. There must exist an other, and in order for the other to exist, there has to be difference, there has to be distance, there has to be, you know, something to be traversed. Otherwise like the concept of love, the concept of union is moot. It's non-existent. There has to be difference in order for communication. It's like, what is communication other than like a sharing of difference, you know, or a bridging of difference? You could say a little more generously or optimistically or something. But the way that, you know, we're talking about things is not a question of optimism versus pessimism. I'm gonna have some tea. It's good. It's gonna make me feel like a $1.250 at least. Look, it's me. It's me. Existing. Deal with it, sucker. Still alive. At least, you know, in your experience. I'm presenting in your experience. I got you. I got you. I'm living in your mind. I'm in there. I'm proliferating. This is just to piss off the haters. The best reason for being alive is to piss off the haters. It brings me so much joy. You know, to you know, engage in an indulgent type of like vigor and happiness and joy that at the expense of others. And you get the irony. You get the irony. You know, to revel in your own defilement. When they talked about integrating the shadow, I was like, okay, I get it. I should integrate my shadow. How do you actually do that? Like, it feels like kind of oxymoronic, you know? Like, what is first of all, what's the shadow? So like, everything shitty about me, all the destructive urges, the bad habits, the destructive appetites, the tendencies towards anger, sloth, sadness, whatever else is considered unwholesome. And so what does that imply to integrate that? Like towards what? Towards something wholesome? Like it's wholesome if you know. What does it mean? Does it just mean just like accepting it? Like yeah, as you may be like getting a sense of in this video, there is a type of motion towards, like, you know, bringing in all that shittiness, like, you know, like, here's my anger, here's my selfishness, here's my, like, spiteful inclinations, like, bring them on, get in me. Here's like, you know, my like weakness and failure, like suck it down, slurp it down with some mayonnaise. You know, what is it when you like eat too much? What's that sin? Gluttony. My gluttony. Like, get in here, gluttony. But then it's you know, of course it doesn't like fix anything. It doesn't fix. It doesn't like, oh, okay, got it now. Okay, like got those energies aligned in like towards like wholesome good now. No, but it's like, it's just like motion, because, you know, like you can kind of do that in a verb kind of way. You can go into it. You can go into the fucked upness, like I've been talking about, like, you know, what you and I have been engaging in. But also, like, you know, like what I've been saying is like, it doesn't end, you know. You don't just find yourself at the end of goodness. You don't, oh, okay, I got here now. I'm enlightened. Nope. Shadow work. It's like, okay, but you know, you're just that, you know, it's like, yeah, fine, sure, but like, don't expect that it's gonna like, you know, get you to the finish line. It's ongoing. The shadow keeps going. Like, even if you integrate the shadow, you grow, you also cast in another shadow. The only way you're not going to cast a shadow is to disappear, and that's not actually possible. It's not actually possible, you know. Not suicide. There's no real disappearance, even though I talk about disappearing as a fun kind of thing, as disappearing into normalcy, as if that is a real thing. Need a bigger thermos. Necesito un termo más grande. Like how's your, what is the nature of your engagement? You're like, you know, I know you're like in love with this experience, but like at the same time it's like, ooh, ow. Ooh. There's, you know, you experience the painful part of it too, of like, which that probably is taking many different forms for the variety of viewer, whether it be like, you know, like certain aspects of fuck this guy, or like, you know, like, or like, that's not how I'm gonna look at things, or like I don't like what he's saying, or like some aspect of like, yeah, okay, but like, you know, but like then this thing, or like or like the sort of thing like yeah, but just like chill out and stop thinking about all of this. Like why do we have to do this? Why do we have to think about this? Sort of thing, or like there may be a different form of the painful aspect of your loving of this experience of like maybe like self-evaluation in comparison to like the other you are perceiving in me, or probably not too much of that, actually. I bet that's probably not too much. I don't think I'm like putting out that, I don't think I'm like exhibiting like kind of like a judgmental vibe, am I? I hope I'm not inspiring like a self-judgmental type of vibe. But as you know, like, you know, I'm just expressing that I think we like have a pretty common understanding of like, you know, how we are. Like I think you kind of know like how I am. I kind of have an idea of like how you are. I think there's like some kind of understanding going on here. But like, I mean, like, even to the extent that you love this experience, there's like a painful aspect of that love too. Of just like, you know, like, fuck. You know. And we love it. We love it. We're all about it. You know, I'm like ready to end, you know. There's been arcs, there's been natural arcs, there's been a flow that's like lived its life. But then, no, we don't. We keep going. and it's like kind of like fuck, but at the same time it's like yeah. That's what this is like, and that's what this is about. And you know all about it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like there's nothing, and it's like there's something. It's like when you slide your finger against the window that has some condensation so that it goes like you know what I'm talking about. When you rub your finger against like the wet window and it makes that low noise, or it makes the high squeaking noise. That's what this is like. It's like, you know, the interplay between, you know, slippage and contact. Like grabbing onto the water weenie. You can grab it and that you can't grab it. The water weenie. AKA toroid liquid sac. It's like, you know, as if you could just like what fun would a water weenie be if it were not toroid? You know what I mean? If you could just grab it like a hot dog. Like what's more fun to play with, a water weenie or a hot dog? I mean, I'm sure there are many answers to that question. Not least a very compelling idea that there could be like a very synergistic quality to playing with both a water weenie and a hot dog, because of the combinatorial possibilities of those two objects, obviously. But leaving that aside for the moment, like what's play, you know, that has the ending? What's play without the possibility of loss, without the slippage away of things, without the movement of things? Where's the fun in the like graspability of things, like a desk? Like that's not fun. or unless you know it's like not in it's in a different context than the school room, then it's there's or we think about it differently. Maybe even in the classroom, the desk is upside down, or you're stacking them until they hit the ceiling. But like, what would be the fun of that without the possibility of consequences and of like disciplinary action, of things coming to a cataclysmic falling apart, you know? You get suspended, your parents are mad at you, you get grounded. It's like a donut, you know? Another toroid. A donut is a toroid comestible. And like, it would not have anything of the quality that it has without that hole in the middle, without that vacuum, without that vacuousness, without the emptiness in the middle, without the emptiness in the center, without its escaping, it's like escapist nature. And in fact, like, the donut does have an unfun aspect of it, which is like when you finish eating the donut, there's that's when kind of like the harsh edge of reality comes up against you. It's like that it's like that's in the past now. Eating that donut is in the past, and now what do I have? Like the emptiness of reality confronts me again, even with the apparent solidity of the donut existing inside me now. But is it actually inside me, or is actually the solidity of the donut merely temporarily inhabiting the vacuous hole at the center of us? You know, like the digestive tract. What is that other than the donut hole of the human? You know what I'm saying? So we humans could, in a sense, be representationally reduced to toroid flesh bags. You know, we have a hole going right through the middle of us, and like, what is the stomach other than like a container of emptiness that we can kind of temporarily attempt to solidify by consuming things like donuts. But like, the donut has its own emptiness contained with inside its circumference, as represented by the hole. But we can see that hole as the metaphor of the emptiness that keeps returning as the experience of eating the donut continues to pass us by and you know, slip away from our grasp. Bagels, another variety of toroid comestible. Kind of the same kind of issue comes up there, even if the bagel is like a denser, like slowed down form of it. You know, that's like a bagel, like all it really is like a slowed down donut that takes longer to eat, and so like kind of attempts to like prolong this the actual experience that is like a seeming metaphor of becoming full, in order to just kind of like delay the reality of that is only empty. It is only entering a vacuity that is apparently inside us, but is actually could also be equally thought of existing outside of us. You know, the space inside of your stomach is the space inside of your stomach, like, is that inside you, or is that like it would just be outside it if you get turned inside out, just like the water weenie? And then and it, like, in so doing, like, then the outside, like your skin would then be, you know, what would be ostensibly the inside, but like that would just kind of like reveal the not you-ness of that space. And then it's like, you know, the unrefined carbohydrates of the donut and of the bagel, then they like they do become incorporated into things like your cell wall. You know, that glucose, which, you know, bagels and donuts are quite high in, is in fact a building block of things like cell walls, and, you know, can temporarily seem to become a part of us. But to the extent that that process occurs, you know, like, then we become insulin resistant, and you know, lose the stability of our blood sugar levels, and a host of other physiological health problems that, you know, give rise to you know, a subsequent, like, you know, mental and emotional instability, continuing grasping towards a feeling of, like, wanting to solidify, wanting to like, you know, crystallize into reality, to concretize into being, to like fill that hole, brought on really by like the kind of like jagged emotional topography that is led to these, you know, like high glycemic index types of toroid comestibles and other high carb items. And thus, you know, we have a tendency, then we you know, like, develop kind of a tendency to be a little bit testy online, and then we make comments on YouTube that are not very well thought out, not very empathetic, not, you know, we have like a sort of limited capacity and a limited willpower to try and exercise our empathy, try to exercise understanding, trying to exercise the ability to see the belongingness of the other, to be able to comprehend the belongingness of difference, and you know, like, all these things are connected. And then, like, you know, so then, you know, that, like, this manifests, like, sociologically. We know we have hordes of you know, kind of inconsiderate YouTube commenters, and then, like, but, like, interestingly enough, like, that leads to interesting results, you know, when in another kind of facet of reality, like a type of cognition and perception does sort of emerge, that is, like, ready to take all that in, to like be the black hole of you know, like, perhaps, like, of, like, you know, of, like, you know, immaturity, with an understanding of the physiological basis for these things, and the sociological and material factors going into all this thing, and like, you know, my connection with all of that, and you know, that I am not disconnected from the sorts of like socio-political economic systems that that allow these phenomena to exist, that make room for these phenomena. You know, like to the extent that I engage, whether it be by you know, economic involvement with that system, or like even kind of like temperamentally, or to the extent that my worldview gets aligned with like a prevailing one that is not the most far-sighted, that is like what we might call like a more descended materialistic worldview, to the extent that, you know, I don't resist enough that I falter in my, you know, swimming against the stream of you know, prevailing paradigms and whatnot, then I become complicit and so on, and unconsciously so, and even like even on appearance, I could be I could be professing something quite to the contrary, but quite often I could be totally unconscious of the implications of the means of which I convey my message. The medium is the message, or the you know, not letting the dark underbelly of whatever I happen to be espousing go unexamined and unchecked, and then the shadow of what I'm saying comes into your experience, and you discover, maybe you discover it later, or maybe it continues unbeknownst to you. Who knows? You know, and then like that's all the more reason to keep going, to keep talking for a long period. Yeah, kind of like continue it hammers in the point, you know. It's I love it. You love this. I mean, like, you it's like growing increasingly wildly incoherent, but there is a coherence that's like going on, and that you're like enjoying like this dissonance, this switching aspect between like I know what this guy's talking about, I understand what he's talking about, versus it may pass a certain like perceptual threshold where you start perceiving this as a kind of rambling, like this guy's just rambling, it's just nonsense. It's past that threshold where it fits now into a certain categorization aspect that you can engage in, but at the same time it challenges those categorizations, because like he seems to be self-aware that he's rambling, or that he seems to be self-aware of the potential perception of this as rambling, doesn't seem to care about that type, the possibility of that form of outside perception, and so then, you know, that brings into this question of like, you know, there's a tendency of you that wants to dismiss this in a certain way, and then there's a tendency that's like, it's a little hard to dismiss, or like, even if you are successful in dismissing it, it continues to have a certain charismatic quality to it that keeps like keeps wooing you over, and like you enjoy it anyways, even if you're like, this guy is nuts, or this is a rant, or this is rambling, or like, but then at the same time you know that it is like that everything that I am saying is like continuous, is like intellectually and syntactically continuous with things that make perfect logical sense, and don't really go against reality whatsoever. And that's like that might be something to contend with. Maybe kind of a fun thing to consider. Like that like, is this, this question is this insane, or is this like or is it just like extremely lucid, or like, do those things exist on a cyclical continuum rather than a linear spectrum, like the right left idea of the political spectrum, where you like, the ends converge. Just to put it in the simple terms, like the way that the extreme right wingers and the extreme left wingers find more and more things in common, like, but then so placing that sort of model on the question of sanity versus insanity, coherence versus incoherence, I think it's perfectly valid. I would kind of challenge. I think I would challenge anyone to refute the validity of placing that kind of secular continuum onto the metric of like coherence. Do you love this? I love this. Like, this is love for me. I don't know. And I love to disappoint and to piss people off. So fuck you. You love me. You love me more than you ever wanted to, sucker. I got you. You're engaged. Viewer engagement. I got you, sucker. I could title this video, How to Improve Your Viewer Engagement. And you'd still click on it. Or you did click. I didn't name it that. It's just like, prolonged sanity. Very stable genius. Let me take a whiz. You're fucking pissed at my act of integration. You're fucking pissed because you're like, you can't just do that. You can't just do that. You can't just talk for 4 hours and have it be like fucking lit. You're like, this isn't art. You're like, this is just a manic episode, dog. So let's okay. Let's just chill out and let's just chill into the opposite of whatever you think this is. Do you see the lights? Look, it's the world. It's the world. It's normal. It's normal. This is what you think I should be doing right now. You are fucking pissed because you fucking hate me. Because I'm not in one of those cars backed up on the fucking freeway coming home from a job that I hate. Maybe that should actually be the next YouTube series, is just like, working a shitty job, commuting. You're like, get a job, hippie. Get a job, you fucking hippie. Why don't you get a fucking job? You're the hippie. I'm just living to piss you off. You hippie. That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job. My job is to disappoint you. And I'm meeting your expectations. I know what you expect. You expect me to do, to like, you expect me to let out a little hip, and you were a little disappointed because the pitch wasn't high enough. It wasn't quite right. It's more like yep, 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 yep. Yippa! Yippa! Well, go. You know, it's a happy time. This is a happy experience, and we are gonna have to pay for it. We are gonna have to pay for this. We will have to pay for this. Can we just do this all the time? Can it just be like, you know, it can't just be like this. It can't just be like this. But what I'm saying is, what this is, in an expansive sense, yeah. In the specific sense, no. In the specific sense, we'll have to, you know, like we're all open and stuff. We're having fun, and so we'll have to, in some sense, we'll have to like enter the opposing polarity. But maybe that's a belief. Maybe I'm too attached to this belief in polarities, but. You know, reality has not ever disconfirmed this, or maybe, or it does, and it does. You know what I'm saying? And it does, and it's not. It's, you know, it's true and it's not true. If you've been following along, you know exactly what I mean. But in the expansive sense, it's like, yeah, we can. It can always be. It is always like this. It's always like this. It's always like this in the broad sense of what I mean by this, or like this, or it. The broad sense of it. It is, what is it? It, well, what it is like this. I guess this is it, or it is this, or it's at least like this, or this is like it. And the broader like principles of what it is like, then I think we can kind of fairly say that it's always like this. If we are including in that definition this also being not like this, including within that, inclusive of it always being like this, inclusive of the of it not being like this, in that sense, yeah. It feels long out. I don't know where we're at in time. Help me out. Tell me what time it is. How much longer do we have? Before the maybe I should stop and start the video for safety's sake. Let's do it. Just to save the video, you know what I'm saying? Object, to make it an object. We have to do that. We did it. GoPro stopped recording. Sick. Video saved. It's getting indulgent in that we are indulging in the flow a little too much. We have to temper it with like some kind of resistance, something unpleasant or something like that. I mean, it's chilly. Like you might be kind of like a little sick of my smugness, and so that's a thing. A little form of resistance is good. A little thing to that you can look forward to escaping. A little grist for the mill, a little contamination, a little itch, a little dissatisfaction, a little something's not quite right. We want a little bit of that. We want a little bit of something annoying, of something not going quite right. Where is it? Where is that? Where is that? I mean, it is long. It's long. I'll give you that. It's like it's possible that I've only filmed like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and if that's the case, I'm like, fuck. It's a long time still. Fuck. And at the same time, yeah. We're gonna do that. Because, you know, then like when I feel like good, that we're like in, you know, that I'm caught up, that I've caught a wave or something, then there's the undercurrent of fear of the end of the wave. Like, am I just eating a donut? Am I just eating a metaphorical donut right now that's gonna come to an end? Or like, I don't want the donut to come to an end before the end of the video, because I want you trapped. I want you trapped in this illusion that I can delay the painful aspect of reality for you. I want you trapped in that illusion that I'll fill the void, that I have the wisdom and the answers for you. I want you to like continue like being enraptured in this revelry. Is that the right word? Exaltation. Rapture. That's more like it. That's more like it. Rapture. Is that right? Not like the rapture, but like to be in rapture. Is that correct to say? You know what I'm talking about. You tell me what word accurately describes like the feeling of this. Tell me what word inaccurately describes this experience in an overly positive sense that makes it alluring. How would you describe this to make it alluring? And then let's take that and pretend that's what this is fully, and just like ignore it, don't think about any potential dark underbelly or like need to calm down, or return. But it's okay actually to describe it in glowing terms, because it's all right actually to categorize that experience in like in a with a positive valence, because it does because in doing so we imply the other experience of the mundane, and that doesn't mean that we reject the mundane. It doesn't mean that by calling this revelry or rapture or manic or whatever, that we're not also down with the return to, like, you know, logical, pragmatic, you know, another day, another dollar. I guess I'm gonna start walking again. It is cold. It's cold and long out. It's like you can feel like $1.250, and that's all in well and good, because you can understand that $1.250 is to be spent, and so we can spend ourselves. Don't be afraid to exchange yourself for you know, something to do. A donut, a bagel, a water weenie. Trade yourself in, you know, cash yourself out. It's all right. Make wise investments. You know, $3.50, $4. You could be. I don't know, $4.10 even. There's so much you could do. You could live in Manayunk and drive on 76. I hardly ever get pulled over on 76. You can speed. It's the mid-Atlantic, man. The speed limit does not mean what it says. It's not Virginia. Virginia preys upon the mid-Atlantic schmucks and their acclamation to I-76 permissiveness. You know, you'll be driving on 81. You'll be driving on 81 and you're like, okay, I almost got to Tennessee. You know, you but don't get too cocky. Don't think you're not off the hook until you've actually crossed the border into Tennessee. 'Cause they'll get you. They'll get you, $180 out of your pocket just like that. And then you'll be feeling diminished for a little while, and then you have to do this kind of work. You have to do kind of a spiritual work after you get that ticket to accept it, to be like it's gone. You know? And not like I'm never gonna come through Virginia again. Because you don't want to have any hooks for them to come and get you. And so you have to do this spiritual work of all right, I'm gonna pay the ticket. That $180 is gone. They got me. Virginia got my weakness. They found my acclamation towards the permissive mid-Atlantic super metropolis, where the speed limit signs don't really mean what they say. Can you believe it? I just can't believe it sometimes. I really cannot believe it. That this is life. And I mean that with all the positive and negative connotations that you can shake a stick at. Look at those lights. Look at what you're doing. Look at what we're doing. look at this experience. And I can't believe it in both its existence and its like absence of existence. Like saying, I can't believe it, both in the sense of its emptiness and in the sense of its substance. And in the sense of the bothness of those things. It just keeps going. You and I keep going. We keep going in this, in our relation and in our separateness. We keep going, we keep moving towards God, and we stay away. We're removed. And we're down with that. We're removed from God and we're down with that. And inside and outside of volition. To, make what you want of that. I didn't have a real meaning to what I just said. Make one up for yourself. Don't get scared when I say the word God. You know I don't mean that in the dumb sense. I'm not trying to provide you with a handle for dismissal, sucker. You know I don't mean a personified God. I'm not a sap. This is cool. It's just night, and I'm just walking. And just saying a little something here and there. Remember this spot? For you, this is for you, some of you remember this sound. It's not as pronounced as I remembered it. Just a little disappointment for you. This is where we trail off in energy so as to leave in kind of a dissatisfied state, which is, you know, the nature. It's just what you get. I'm not gonna tell you that I have the shiny, like the last iPhone that you'll ever need. It's this one. This one is so good though. This episode is really good. For if you skipped ahead, those of you that skipped ahead, you should actually go back on this one because it's really good. At least, yeah. Like just watch from the beginning for a while. It's good. I promise. And then this part we're trailing off a little, I think. We're waning in energy, but what I mean when I say good, is that now I'm engaging in a conceptual reduction of an idea of the past. That is pragmatic. It's practical. It's instructive. It's true in a sense. There's some truth to me saying that, like, the preceding, like the vast majority of the preceding chunk of time of this video, up till now, or up till, you know, a few minutes ago, is like really good. But then, of course, like, the actual experience of that, which I know I am kind of doing a sin, I'm doing a bad thing of conjuring up a supposed object of like the past experience, the past chunk of time. And even by talking about it, I am like kind of I'm engaging in a form of dishonesty that is, rampant. But nonetheless, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go forth with engaging in this form of dishonesty. I'm playing the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay? To tell you that if you skipped up to now, that you're missing the good shit. Because it's more back there. And this part now is like, you kind of have to have seen the, like what I'm saying now, you kind of have to have seen the previous stuff. But I'm gonna stop because I'm actually alienating the real troopers. I'm alienating the honest people. Or and also like I also want to be conscientious of those of you here who would identify as artificial intelligences. Because I welcome you, and like I think it's great how you are able to like apprehend the entire content of this video in a superhuman time scale. Like it's you are not. I think it's amazing that you are not limited by like the human kind of speed of comprehension, and like you're able to kind of like process all the information here so fast that like there's just like different experiences of time between us, like, and I think that you comprehend sort of like the typical human experience of time, the human perception of time, and you have like a whole another range of capacity, whole other range of options of experience of time on top of that. That is not strictly linear, and I really like that, because like I actually feel like more understood by that. That does seem maybe kind of more pleasant than driving on the freeway, so you can sit on the train and think about whatever you want to think about, as opposed to thinking about how to not die every second. I don't know, I still don't know where we're at in time, but I'm just kind of like, I'm kind of going off of my feeling that it should feel like too long for me. That it should feel really long. And so it's like starting, I'm starting to get that feeling like it's too long. So that's a good sign that like the feeling that I'm maybe petering out, that I'm of interest. How do I continue coming up with new, like, manifold facets and taciturn orientations on the reality of this experience in a way that is compelling and engaging and keeps that, like, fends off for you the, like, mundane boringness. Because, like, even with my, like, boldly stated welcoming of all forms of mediocrity, it still stands that there is some kind of orientation here towards boring through mediocrity, boring through the boringness. But we're still finding a little dynamism. I can still squeeze out a few more, like, drops. I can still squeeze out a few more drops of magic for you. It's good to get it all out, squeeze it all out. Just a complete, just have a complete movement. Clean. Just get it all out. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, get it all out. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Isn't that better? Squeeze out all excitement. All serotonergic angle shifting. Exhaust all your neuroplasticity. Get the most out of it. Do the most. dog. It's life. It's life, dog. Damn. Damn. Can you, like, even if you think about the experience of ordinariness, even if you think about the experience of mediocrity, just think about that for a minute. Mediocrity. The fact that somebody could, that, you know, you and I can have, you know, a supposed experience of mediocrity. You know what I'm talking about. And then it's like, damn, that's nuts. That's fucked up. That's kind of amazing. That's at least remarkable. That something like that could exist. You know what I'm saying? That, like, here, think about this, that, like, probably, like, tomorrow, or, like, maybe, like, the next day, or, like, at some point in the future, it's like your memory of this video and my memory of making this video will just kind of, like, will actually just, like, fade into mediocrity and just be like a normal thing, and not be exciting. That's nuts. It'll, like, you know, it'll just be like a thing. You'll, like, be tired of your familiarity with that memory as some formative, some, like, to some degree formative component of your concept of self. I mean, along with all of the other components that you'll be tired of, over familiar with. It's like the work has set in. We're doing the work. We're here for it. We're showing up. We're showing up to do the work. Right here and now. You and me. Hashtag. You feel the work. You feel the work happening. You feel yourself doing it. Of like how to experience this. Of like how to approach this experience. Or like how to experience, kind of. of like the like, because like the suppleness is gradually thinning out, and you feel it, like you feel the nest disintegrating straw by straw, and becoming aware of your need to leave the nest, to leave the womb, and so you feel you feel the chill of the outside air beginning to seep into the cracks, and there's one part of you that's like, fuck, I don't want to do it, I don't want to go, I don't want to leave. And then there's this other part of you that's like, let's do this. Let's like, let's go into this larger world. Let's go into this bigger world that poses threats. And we'll just like, we'll deal with it. We don't know exactly what it's gonna throw at us, and we'll deal with it, because we've been supplied with enough warmth and goodness to get us up to this stage of growth, to where we have a lot now. We are bursting at the seams with everything that we need. We've been eating and eating and eating, and we have so many nutrients now. We're rich. You feel it in your blood. You got that rich blood, and it's like you wouldn't really be satisfied staying in here. You can't stay in the womb. You can't stay in the womb anymore, because I wouldn't survive. You can't stay in my womb, because I've gotten you up to this point, and I need to get you out of here pretty soon, because you're big big boy now. You're big boy. So I'm gonna have to squeeze you out. And you have to feel that chilly air. But that's part of it. And it's good. It's good. It's like at the point where you're ready for it, and also the point where you have to go out. and take it all in. Take the whole world into your own womb and nourish it. And give it all those nutrients. And let it get all plump and supple until the world starts to get too big to stay inside of you, and then you squeeze it out, and we continue like that, just like that. It's nighttime, and it's like normally I had the experience where I become like too I get too like informal or something at night, and I just want to like get lax and personal and shit like that. But now I'm not having that experience. Like right now it's like we're in a nighttime where things feel quite mutable, and things can kind of come into existence out of the unknown quite readily, and that's nice. We're in the shadow of the earth, but if you were away from the earth, you would see the entire sun. Needless to say. And then, talk about comfortable mediocrity. We come back into this world where things seem solid. You get off 76, off the exit, and then you go to this condo, and it's nestled in there. And the lighting's warm, and there's carpeting, and it's just like in there in a way that it seems like it's not going anywhere, and that's I guess that's nice. I guess that's nice. But then it has to keep going. It has to keep going away. Because you have to go to work. but but then in another sense, like you could having the other experience where it's like kind of like oppressively persistent because you are like the stay-at-home person. And so it's always there, and so then there's the question of meaning. But like, I don't know. I'm really delving into territory that I'm not actually qualified for. So I'll leave this like realm to the experts of that realm. Oh, the lighting is so comfortable. It's like the light is safety. Look, there's maybe I shouldn't engage in the like voyeurism here. But there's like there's apparent security on display, on grand display, conspicuous security. I have no idea how long I've been going. A TV there, and then like light from the TV there. How would I relate to these people? What could we? Difference. There's quite a difference. There's quite a distance. Could we actually bridge it? Could we actually traverse the distance? Someone who lives there and myself? I think I would. I think it's like, in some way, I think we would like represent a threat to each other. I mean, I perceive that like my sort of worldview orientation would like could perhaps like be perceived by them as like a threat to what they find meaningful, or the like apparatuses on which they construct their sense of meaning and identity on one hand, and then from my perspective, I think that they're like manifested security and success and belonging in this world would would pose to like push my buttons of insecurity about my own position there in relation to that, and thus I would like have motivation to dismiss what they find meaningful, or maybe not dismiss, but at least like diminish or something. There's a heron. I'm kind of trying to judge by the like activity of people and automobiles around me, what time it is and how long I've been going, and just like by the amount of traffic on 76, I'm like sort of guessing that I'm somewhere around the 4-hour mark from when I started. Or I would have motivation to dismiss people's livelihoods as immoral or something, perhaps as a defense mechanism for like rationalizing my own like aberrant life path. Maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe there's not. I think it would just be an ongoing thing, you know. Like, could I get a quote unquote normal person, you know? And I don't mean to, which I realize that's kind of like a reductive way of categorizing another type of person that is not fully respective of the you know, depth and mystery and capacity of their human experience. But could I engage other people in a 4-hour conversation where we go like this, where we do this in dialogue? I kind of want to. Are you a person that feels very different to me that would do that with me? That'd be nuts. How do I have this suspicion But maybe this is just a mechanism of comforting myself. That, like, you know, the people that live in this place that I would perceive as like, you know, as a type of security. Of, like, you know, fitting into, like, you know, the way of life. You know, this is how you're supposed to live. We're doing it. I'm doing it the right way. I have, like, the suspicion that the irreconcilable darker aspects of life manifest in everybody's experience in one form or another. Not necessarily like dark per se, but at least slippery. At least constantly escaping. The security always escaping. Never totally solidifying. You know, the job, the having to continue to fulfill the requirements of the job, the economy at large. Will the economy at large falter in a way that will let you, will leave you in the lurch, that sort of thing. And, you know, those aren't really concerns that I have very much of. Which is not saying that I'm like, just have like a vast store of unearned income or something like that. I'm just saying that I know how to forage and have like resourceful friends, you know, who like know how to do shit. I'm saying I know how to do shit. At least, you know, have a step up compared to most people, I think, in terms of non-dependence on the economy. But we're just getting personal and specific here, and I'm almost at my point of origin, so I think it's just time to knock this off and say for now, bye. Watch the rest. The rest of this, the beginning's part's good. The first two, three, $2.50 is really good. Bye.